Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skol Brothers.
Welcome to episode 42 of the Sports Card Talk Show. Today we have Monday Mount Rushmore, and who do we have on the slate today?
It is Jason from Hawaii Action Figure Guy. He's going to help us out with the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh man, this should be a good one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we haven't talked to Jason for a little while now, so.
Yeah. It's good to have him back on the show.
Absolutely. So, should we get him on the line?
Ring-a-ling ding-dong.
All right, we got Jason on the line, Hawaii Action Figure Guy. Everybody knows who he is. Instagram, YouTube, IG Live, you name it.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how's it going? Aloha.
Nice. Nice. So you're nice enough to come help us out with the Monday Mount Rushmore, the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on, man.
I'm excited that we're having a great season.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Good year to be a Niner fan for sure, I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely. It's so funny because, the past few years, we had dedicated Niner fans that come out to the bars and watch the games and stuff like that. They kind of dwindled down because of how the records were the past few years. But now it's like they're coming out, man. They're coming out, in droves. So this is cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think we talked about it. You get to have a few honorable mentions and then the Mount Rushmore. And then if you had a face of the franchise, I'm excited to see what you got, man.
Oh, absolutely. So, yes, Mount Rushmore 49ers. I'm super excited to do this with you guys. It's an honor, actually, to do it, being selected as a 49er fan to do this.
Yeah.
And, so this is cool. So let's talk honorable mentions. So my first one is actually a duo, okay? These are two guys. This is a duo. Now, while we do Mount Rushmore, do you mind if I share some stories in between?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these two guys actually brought me back into watching football again. Because there's a time in my life and for a few years I wasn't really watching sports, because I was kind of focused on other things, especially with my craft, with my job and everything. So I was on that grind and I had to sacrifice something. But these guys brought me back into watching 49er football,
Okay.
And these two, and plus two, when I was in high school, I was on defense and I played linebacker as well. And I'm talking about this duo, Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that linebacker duo was my favorite when I came back into watching football. And when I would see them on the field, it was magic, just having those two, and they're just complimenting each other, and and they're just in utter beast mode. It was insane, just watching them. And I wasn't really I was watching our offense, and I think Alex Smith was our quarterback back then, but watching these two guys and leading the charge for defense was just incredible, and it got me becoming a 49er fan again. Just coming back into it, watching football again. So that's when I got addicted to heading out to the bars, hanging out with my friends, and just kind of watching football again, and just being a fan.
Oh, nice.
And a friend of mine told me, never lose touch with what you enjoy. So that was the first step of getting back into the things that I enjoy, and I was watching football. So, and because of these two, I became a 49er. I'm a 49er fan now, but I watched more football, more so 49er football, because of these two, Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman.
Oh, okay.
That's a good. I remember when I took notice of Patrick Willis as the Vikings were playing the Niners, and Adrian Peterson was just in beast mode at the time, and he had 10 rushes, or he might have had 13 rushes for 3 yards or something against the Niners. And
Yep.
Oh man, those guys were sticking him every single play for negative yards. And
oh man, and the hits they dished out, dude, was you could hear them to the the next few games. You could feel it in the next few games. It was amazing. It was sad when the tandem split up, and that's when things kind of went sour. But when we had those two together, it was a great time.
Patrick retired really premature, but he was definitely the best linebacker in the game there for a few years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these two guys took the defense at that time to the next level. I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Honorable mention, old school running back, one of my favorites. In fact, a lot of my friends would pattern his style when they played football. Roger Craig.
Nice. He should be in the Hall of Fame, man. I feel like Roger's a Hall of Famer, and he's not there yet.
He should be. I mean, come on now. I mean, like, I don't really talk much stats, but then, when I had a chance to watch him as a kid, like, man, this guy was magic. This guy was magic, And he was a workhorse running back too. Like, he grinded, and he did his best to be noticed. I mean, like, everyone was talking about the tandem of Rice and Montana, but then don't forget about Rice and Craig.
Yeah, right. I feel like Craig was an integral part to that West Coast offense that they were running in the 80s and winning Super Bowls with. That's how I feel.
Yes. He was a backbone to that offense of the guy that picked up the ball,
Mm-hmm.
So when he ran, it's like you see how he runs. I'm like, wow, I want to run just like him, like, I know, going back to high school football when I played, I know a lot of my friends were like, they're trying to, how did Roger Craig do it?
Right.
How did he run? And, that kind of stuff. And, they want a pattern, after what he did. And I think, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and hopefully it's soon because he deserves it. He really, really deserves that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on to the next one.
Yep.
Okay, next one. Let's look to the future. Okay, let's look to the future in the honorable mention. And here's a story about this guy. Okay, so 2014, 2015, even parts of 2016, I would see him. He was playing for another team. We won't mention the name of the team, but it was on the East Coast somewhere, right?
Right.
And he was a backup to the modern day GOAT, if you will. And I remember watching him play, and I was thinking to myself, what if? Because I watched a lot of preseason football, no matter what the teams were. But I was like looking at him, like, what if? What if he was a 49er? And I legit prayed about it. I went to church and I prayed about it, and I'm like, please bring this guy over to the 49ers. Okay. I think he'd be a great addition to our team. He's got the look. He's got the grind, he's got the hustle for it, and I think he'd fit into whatever scheme that we're going to put him in, right? Well, October 31st, 2017, I believe, this guy was on a plane to Santa Clara from Boston, and I'm talking about my man, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so... When it came to cards, right? I knew about Jimmy G, and I was trying to get the that team in on the East Coast in this break, right?
Yeah.
And the first Jimmy G card I pulled was his rookie from 2014 limited, and although it was out of 199. But it doesn't matter because it's Jimmy G. Come on now,
Right.
When it's a hot quarterback, it doesn't matter what the numbering is. Even if it's not numbered, that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So like, but talking about him as a player, like when we finally got him, and then we were for the last few games we were undefeated. That was magic. That was awesome. And he fit so well. I mean. And he fit the whole mold of being in San Francisco. Greatest of all time, future. I don't know. I don't think he's it right now, but I think we haven't seen a lot of him yet. I think so. It was unfortunate when he got injured. I think it was Game 3 of last year against the Chiefs. And then he went down with a torn ACL. Now, like, here's the thing. One thing about Jimmy G, his downfall was that he's stubborn.
Yeah.
he's like, I gotta get that extra yard. If he didn't take that extra yard, he still would have been playing last season. But the thing was, the curse was also a blessing. If you notice in the draft, you know who we got at number 2, right? But Jimmy G, like, to me, is like he's got a bright future, and you know, I'm really stoked that he's a 49er, and I'm glad that my prayers were answered.
Right.
You know, but yeah, but I ended up collecting like a ton of his cards. I mean, I got like a lot of autos of him in his other uniform.
Yep.
I got one of his in a 49er uniform. I'm looking to get more 49er autos from Jimmy G, so to add to my collection, which, you know, would be the ultimate right now, you know, because I'm just trying to stack up on my favorite quarterbacks, you know, especially with the Niners. So yeah, Jimmy G, he's a number. What were we at? Number?
That was 3, I think, for the honorable mentions. Yep.
Honorable mention. Yeah. I'm sure you guys like watching Jimmy G too. Although Vikings fans, but you know.
Right.
I've only watched him once since he was a Niner, and I recall the Vikings whooping up on him last year in the opener. So,
but that was in, though. That was in.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, you know, he got hurt, and you didn't get to watch him again all last year. So he's yeah, I remember the talking heads out there last year. They were calling it not stubborn but stupid that he was trying to get that extra yard.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Social media kind of blasted him about that.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But I mean, that's what football players do. You know, they fight for so many really great quarterbacks are called stupid whenever they take a hit when they could have went down. You know, and they have to walk back to that huddle and act like they're men whenever they duck, you know. So
right,
yeah,
it's hard for a task a man to play the weenie role, you know, and that's what quarterbacks are supposed to do nowadays.
Of course. I know, exactly. But here's the thing, like, when you're in a moment, you know, because I played before, when you're in a moment, things just happen, you know, like a penalty may happen, you know, you're going to get injured. I mean, things just happen. You just do things on instinct. And that's what he did with that one game against the Chiefs. He just did it on instinct. But at the same time, being stubborn. I think but now he's learned, you know, so I think we're good moving forward.
Yeah.
And speaking about moving forward, let's move on to number 4.
Good.
Good segue, huh?
Very good.
Okay, number 4. Okay, speaking of quarterbacks, the workhorse quarterback, the San Francisco 49ers, but in the past, the quarterback no one wanted, and they took a gamble on him, and he ended up learning from the greatest of all time. I'm talking about Steve Young.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Steve Young is the workhorse quarterback. Still one of my favorites. Honorable mention because of, you'll see in the top 4 that I got coming up. But with Steve Young, so I actually got a chance to see him play before he was in the NFL. So back in the day, I think if I'm not mistaken, when he was at BYU, they're part of the Western Athletic Conference, and there was a rivalry between BYU and Hawaii. There was a long time rivalry between those two schools. Okay, only because like a lot of our Polynesian athletes were going to Utah to play over there in BYU instead of staying home in Hawaii. Oh. And so that was kind of the big rivalry. But then the thing is, like when BYU were to come home, there are a lot of people that were fans of them because of their kids, you know, playing at BYU. So and Steve Young was the quarterback at BYU.
Yep.
And he ran roughshod over Hawaii.
Oh man,
a ton of times, man, a ton of times. I think there was one time that we won against when he played, but there was a ton of times that we couldn't beat BYU. And then of course he went to USFL, played for this other team in Florida we won't mention because it's all about the 49ers, right?
Right.
So you know, he was throwing INTs left and right. I mean, I think he was like the worst quarterback that year. But it took a gamble. San Francisco took a gamble. They picked him up, and he ended up learning from the best and also being one of the greatest of all time in his own right, you know? And one of those, he was a different kind of quarterback for the 49ers because he could run. And I loved it that he was thinking out of the box at the time, you know. And that was during the time when like a lot of quarterbacks were running out of the pocket and just kind of, just doing their own thing and just being them, you know.
Yeah.
And Steve Young was one of those guys, and he was one of those where like he did his best to make a name for himself, to be a different quarterback for San Francisco, and he really fit with that scheme that they had, you know. And as far as his cards, like it's so funny because out of you probably think this is weird because like out of the greatest of all time that we're going to talk about a little bit later on, in my opinion, I wanted to get more Steve Young cards, you know, because I don't know, for some reason it just gravitated towards me, you know, having Steve Young. And you know, plus two, he kind of reminds me of Danny Tanner from Full House. But anyway, which Full House was a total San Francisco 49er sitcom, you know, because it was based in San Fran, but also filmed in L.A. But anyway, Steve Young, you know, without, you know, I don't really talk stats, but you know, I liked him as a player, and you know, he put up some really big numbers, you know, for you know, and he won that one Super Bowl, and that's pretty much all he needed to you know, for the squad, you know. And to be one of the greatest of all time as a 49er quarterback, and I think, you know, in the NFL, you know. I mean, I know a lot of people pattern their style after Steve Young, you know. You know, running out of the pocket, having a little soul when they're running, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Steve Young, as he's actually the honorable mention that has 1 foot into the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
1 foot into the Mount Rushmore because he deserves that, you know?
Right.
Okay, so that was the honorable mentions. You guys ready?
Yep.
We're ready.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Mount Rushmore, top 4. And these are legends, okay? These are legends in the game with the 49ers. And we're going to start with a guy who actually played for the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and we got him back in '83, and he actually is the backbone to the 49ers offense. He was part of 4 Super Bowls, and he was Joe Montana's right-hand man when it came to the offensive line. And I'm talking about Hawaii's own Jesse Sapolu.
Nice.
Jesse Sapolu. He was a center for the San Francisco 49ers. Here was the thing. He led that offensive line. And he was one of those guys where, like, you come rushing for the quarterback, and it's like, bro, where you going? Where you going? You try to sack my boy. I got you. So he had that killer instinct where, like, he would hit you so hard that you're like, oh, I'm not going to run towards him. You know? I'm not going to try... You know, I'm not gonna try to sack Montana because Sapolu's there. You know, and plus two, there's a long line of Polynesians that play for the San Francisco 49ers, and for him to be picked up by the 49ers was awesome because there's a big Polynesian community in the San Francisco area, and to have him be part of that you know, part of the championship teams, you know, those the four Super Bowls that he was a part of, like, wow, it was great, you know. And plus two, here in Hawaii, like, everyone was talking about Jesse Sapolu. Everyone wanted his jerseys, you know. Everyone wanted an autograph with him, a picture with him, and he's still a staple to Hawaii to this day, you know. Nice. I mean, you know, he's a name that everyone talked, you know, that he's still talked about. Also, too, a lot of the kids here that play offensive line, I mean, he's a template. Jesse Sapolu is a template of being what it is to be an offensive lineman, especially a center.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
I want to say he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember. I mean, he's one of those names from that offensive line that I remember. I remember Randy Cross and was there a Guy McIntyre? I don't know, but Jesse Sapolu is definitely a guy that you remember. I remember. And you don't remember offensive linemen unless they were good. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
And Sapolu was the wall. You know,
yeah,
he was the wall that helped build that offensive line brick by brick, and made everyone good, you know, and he wanted everyone to be amazing. And, you know, he's the guy like, hey, we got to protect our boy, huh? You know,
Right.
we got to protect him or else, you know, we're not going to win those championships. So yeah, he was a guy. So Jesse Zapolo, number 4 on Mount Rushmore. So let's go to number 3. You guys ready?
Ready.
Okay. Number 3. I think his documentary was on a football life not too long ago. I have yet to see it. I haven't had a chance to, but he was the one that, let's just say, when you think of cornerbacks, you think of safeties, especially back in the 80s. You think of this guy, Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ronnie Lott. He was the guy, like, to me, he was the safety. He was the cornerback. He was the guy in the backfield that hit like a linebacker.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Lott. Nobody. Oh, he was a hitter, man.
Yeah, and you know, you didn't want to run in his path. You know, you didn't want to run by him. You know, you're like, ooh, Ronnie. Yeah, I don't want to go there.
Right.
But yeah, Ronnie Lott. He's so a story about Ronnie Lott as far as cards go. So there's this guy back in the, you know, early 90s. I used to go to his house. He was selling cards in his garage, you know, so during the junk wax era, right? And he had a box of 82, was it 82? Yeah, 82 tops, right?
Yeah.
So he had a box of 82 tops, and he sold it for fairly cheap. I think the box itself was, the packs that he sold were like for $8 a pack at the time. And the thing was, is that to me, okay, that was to me, it was like, oh man, $8 a pack, you know, I can only afford 75 cents a pack, $1.50 a pack at the most, right? $3, that's high end to me, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a $3 pack of Stadium Club football is like, ooh, that's high end, you know.
Yep.
But anyway, so I got over there, and I was kind of looking around. I was looking at I was looking at the Beckett magazines, and then I decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and buy a pack of 82 tops, but hoping that I was gonna pull a Montana second year. You know,
Yep.
I want to at least get that, not thinking that was Ronnie Lott's rookie year. I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened the pack, you know, wax falling down, everything. We got the stale gum, and then I think it was I remember this. It was the 5th card. Okay, it was the 5th card, and then JR, the guy that was selling cards, he goes, Ronnie Lott! shakes my hand really hard. Champion. You are a champion today. And like as a 7th grader, I'm like, man, this is awesome. You know?
Yep.
That this poll was recognized, you know?
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of kids around me. Everyone's like, wow, that's so cool. And then like their dads, who, you know, real old school football guys, like, oh, that's nice, you know. And then
Yep.
I think one of the dads wanted to buy it from me for $10. I was like, no, man, this is mine. This is Ronnie Lott.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, it's Ronnie Lott. And
Yep.
then the guy called me champion. Come on,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
But
I gotta think Ronnie Lott's right there is maybe the best one of the. He's in the conversation as best safety of all time. You know.
oh yeah. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, Ronnie Lott was a guy that you looked up to you want to be that safety, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing or if you're living vicariously through somebody, Ronnie Lott, of course, like what you said, you know, is in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, when I pulled that, so the thing with that card, I ended up trading it for something else, which was stupid. So that was like the stupidest. So that was the stupidest deal of all time that I did. But years later, prior to getting that one GOAT wide receiver that we're going to talk about pretty soon, I ended up buying that Ronnie Lott for, I'll say it, I actually got it for $5.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Cheaper than the pack that I bought years ago.
Yeah.
So this guy was selling it for $5 on eBay. I think I paid like maybe $3 shipping with her, so $8. Oh yeah, so it came out to $8. But then, you know, it was a $5 card, you know, on eBay.
Yep.
But it just looked really nice. I'm like, ooh, this is actually nicer than the one I pulled. You know, and cards back then, I mean, centering was an issue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Okay, all right, we're down to the top two. You guys ready?
Ready.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I talked about a GOAT receiver, guy with style, with grace. He was on Dancing with the Stars. He's all over social media right now. After a retirement. This guy, I swear, every kid wanted to be like him. Every kid wanted his jersey back in the day, especially myself. And I'm talking about Jerry Rice, number 2.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's obvious.
Yep.
But the thing is that Jerry Rice he made being a wide receiver looked at as awesome,
Yeah.
I mean, quarterbacks are the star players usually, right? But he was like, no, the wide receivers are the guys catching the balls,
Right.
That's the guys catching the balls, and he was the one that had a lot of catches, especially during his rookie year and leading up into the years to come, and Jerry Rice was that guy. What I'm going to show you guys is actually, I'm not going to show you his rookie card to post. I'm going to show you his second year card because this is actually my favorite looking Jerry Rice card of all time.
Oh, nice.
It's his 87 tops. So you're seeing that right now when you're watching this video, and it looks like he's actually throwing the football.
Yeah.
And if you notice on the and if you've seen that card, look who's on the ground. What team is that? Look what team that is. Look what team that is. He's got horns on his helmet. What team is that? Y'all live in that area, right?
Yeah.
Y'all Skol brothers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, number 47 got dusted, man. But anyway, Jerry Rice, man. I mean, you looked at receivers. That's the guy that you want to be, And I know when I play football, I want to be a tight end, but then I also want to run patterns like Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, he played for other teams after that, but then everyone knows that he's a 49er through and through. And that's the thing too, like with a lot of these guys, that once played for the 49ers, a lot of them want to retire a 49er, like NaVorro Bowman. Let's go back to NaVorro Bowman real quick before I go back to Jerry Rice. Like, he wanted to sign that 1 year contract just so he can retire a Niner.
Right. Yeah.
Because his tenure was there. But yeah, Jerry Rice. Even after retirement, he was still his name was still relevant. He was out there making appearances, TV appearances, that kind of stuff. And he had that swagger. He brought that swagger to being a wide receiver, and especially to the 49ers. He was swag, but no one called it swag.
Right. Yep.
He had style before anyone called it style. Yep. So
Jerry Rice was kind of the Michael Jordan of the NFL in the late 80s.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if he played basketball, he would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if he played baseball, he would have been awesome. Anything he would touch, he'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jerry Rice, that's number 2 on my Mount Rushmore. Obvious, but hey, can't deny that, right?
Right.
Can't deny that. All right. So, number 1, probably thinking this. I know everyone that's watching around the world, in every country that's allowed to watch, your YouTube channel, because I know some countries are blocked,
Yep.
China. But anyway, so this card I'm going to show you is not his rookie card. I picked this one because of what it says next to the word 49ers. It says NFC Pro Bowl. Only because my dad went to that Pro Bowl when this particular quarterback was there. And he took some pictures and he showed me, this one particular guy. And my dad was never a football fan, but he knew I liked this. He knows that this is my favorite player of all time, football player of all time. And when you talk about greatest of all time, before a guy named TB, there was this guy, because TB wanted to be him. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
TB wanted to be him. And I'm talking about Joe Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Montana. And for some reason, okay, let's go back a little bit. For some reason, a lot of great quarterbacks come out of the state of Pennsylvania. Think about it. There's three in my mind that I can think of that came out of the state of Pennsylvania.
Joe came out of Pennsylvania, huh? I know he played for Notre Dame, but he's from PA, huh?
Yes, he's from Pennsylvania.
I know Danny boy, Dan Marino is a Pennsylvania guy, right?
Yep, and there's one more too. There's one more. His name is also Joe.
Namath? Really?
Yeah, I think Namath is from Pennsylvania too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Joe's and a Dan. If your name is Joe and Dan, you're from Pennsylvania. Hey, you're destined to be great, right? But then his last name is not Joe Pennsylvania. It's Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So I remember watching him for the first time, and I talked about this in the first video I was in with you guys. First time I saw him was actually the catch.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like it was on the whim. Me and my uncles were watching football, and it was Cowboys and 49ers, and it was a mixed bag of fans, that I was watching. I remember there was a Steeler fan there. There was a Cowboy fan. They walk into a bar. No, I'm just kidding. And then my other uncle, he's a 49er guy, and he's like, boy, watch this guy. He's pretty good. He's a quarterback. He's pretty good. And he goes, watch number 16. The number 16. I'm like, what, preschool, And like, yeah, I know the number 16. And then that's all I saw was 1-6, doing his thing. That's all I saw. And I've been glued to Joe Montana from the time he had his tenure in San Francisco, also where he played elsewhere, that few seasons, and until this day. I looked at Joe Montana as the guy. He's my guy, and he's everyone's favorite quarterback, in my opinion. And we talked about this. Let's go back a little bit too from the last video. Like, the chase that did I talk about that? The chase that I had. I didn't, right?
I'm not sure now that you're saying it.
Like a police chase?
No, the chase of the one card.
Oh, of the Joe Montana?
Yeah.
You were talking about going after that kind of soured you to the hobby. I feel like you said you bought a few packs at a card show and you didn't get it, and you were sitting there and you didn't have no money to eat, and you were waiting for your you talked to us about that on the last video.
Yeah.
But you never did tell us how you ended up getting it later on, because after the video it's like, hey, me and Kevin are like, I wonder if he got his Holy Grail cards, because he never did tell us if he got.
So let's talk about that, okay? Let's talk about so I got to give a shout out to Don Matson, DJ's Sports Cards on Facebook. He had this Raz, okay? He had this Raz for PSA 8 Joe Montana 1981 Topps. I think it was 10 spots or 16 spots. I don't know. I forgot what number I chose. A friend of mine tagged me in it. He goes, hey, you need to get in this Raz. You need to get in this. And he didn't know my story about the card, but he knows that I'm a 49er fan. He goes, you need to get in this Raz like right now. There's a guy in there that bought a bunch of spots. You need to do it. So I bought one spot, and he messaged me back. Goes, you want to get in one spot? I'm like, hey, I'd rather have a big victory on a one spotter, than paying all that money that's worth the amount of a card, for all those spots to get it,
Right.
Because the ultimate victory, we all know, if you one spot something and you won the biggest card ever in a Raz or whatever it is, that's like winning the World Series. That's winning the Super Bowl. That's like winning WrestleMania. Okay,
Right.
That's like winning the World Championship. You be the best in the world. Like you one spotted it and you got it. Well, I one spotted it and I got it.
Oh, nice.
And now so I didn't see the Raz itself. I was off doing something else, and then Morgan messaged me. I think it was Morgan and this other guy Mark messaged me. They're like, "Oh my God, you got it! You freaking one spotted it!" Now, when I looked at the message, it was like all this weight was off my shoulders. Like for 20 years, I was holding like this anger of like trying to get this card, right?
Yep.
But like throughout the years, like there are times that you could have gotten it, but you can't because of certain things that come in your life,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, and cards you have to put on the back burner because that's kind of like something that you don't need right now,
Right.
But then you want it eventually. Especially my current chase right now, which is something for another video. But like the weight was off my shoulders. I actually teared up,
Oh yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, I close my eyes and I flash back to when I was a child, when I was that young, 15 years old, and just being sad, years later, winning that Raz, and it's graded PSA 8,
Oh yeah.
and then eventually getting in the mail, and then I held it in my hand, and I just kind of sat there for a good 10 minutes just looking at the card, and just tears running down my face because it just meant a lot.
Oh yeah.
It meant a lot getting that card, and some people think it's silly, but when it's something that you've always wanted for so long and you finally got it,
Yep.
it's in your hand, it's in the flesh, and it's someone that you love watching, someone that you admire, someone that's a role model,
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
you see that and you have it, it's like the ultimate, it's like the best feeling in the world, when people talk about their dream cards, right? What that card is, and you have it. It's like that's something you can't explain, But it just feels really good, and I just have it next to all my other greatest of all times,
Oh yeah.
And to have that was just the ultimate feeling. Not the best picture of him, but knowing that's an iconic card in the collecting world,
Yep.
whether it be graded or not, just to have it is just awesome. It's up there like with a Mano rookie.
Oh yeah.
It's up there with a Jordan rookie.
Yep.
It's up there with Gretzky.
It's one of those cards when you come across it on Instagram, you just automatically hit the heart button.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the feel, and like for me, like the feels were there when I got it,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember posting it. My brother calls me. He goes, "You did it. You got it." He goes, "I could hug you right now, but you got it."
Nice.
And then I actually went ahead and text my friends who are Niner fans, and that's the same message I got. They're like, "Jason, you got it.
Awesome, man.
You got the card that you wanted." One of my friends was like, I can't believe that you have that card. You've been wanting that for so long. You've been talking about it for years and years and years, and you have it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now, like, although you can't see it obviously because you can only hear my voice, but I'm holding it right now. I was like, wow, this is not only just the greatest of all time football player, but the greatest of all time as far as a card in my collection.
That's awesome, Jason.
Yeah, that is, man. I think that's kind of the perfect place to kind of bring this to a close, man. You did an awesome job on the Mount Rushmore. Yeah, man. I think we're just gonna call it a close to the show, and I think that's a perfect way to end it.
Yes.
the best quarterback for you, and the best card. That's awesome, man. I like that.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to to talk about the honorable mentions and the Mount Rushmores and anything 49ers, man. I mean, you know, like in Hawaii, like, you know, there's a lot of us fans here. You know, we're 49ers strong, and you know, and here's a geographical fact that the closest point to the United States, I mean, well, to the mainland U.S. from Hawaii is San Francisco.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like another home for a lot of us, you know, is the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, if you want to hang on 1 second, we're just gonna end the episode real quick, and then we'll talk for maybe like couple minutes, and we'll let you go then.
Absolutely. Can I say something to everyone out there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, whatever that one card that you're looking to get, don't give up. You'll eventually get it. It may take months, it may take years, but when you finally get that card that you've been chasing for so long, it just feels really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, that'll bring episode 42 to a close. San Francisco 49ers, Mount Rushmore. Special thanks to Jason at Hawaii Action Figure Guy.
Skol Brothers out.